going out there tonight?
Whoa. You stumped me now.
Check out our website, mannimalresearch.com. Thanks to everybody. Hello. How's it going out there tonight? Hope everyone is doing well. Those of you that will be joining us live tonight, those of you that will catch it later, we sure do appreciate the support, guys. We really do. As you can see over beside me there, our buddy Walls is not joining us tonight. It's become pretty typical on Thursday due to his work. That's fine. But Mr. Daryl Owen has been able to step in and help us out, and tonight is no different. Sure do appreciate that, buddy. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing well, sir. Thank you for having me, and I'm doing good. Hello, everybody out there. Hope everybody's having a good evening or morning or afternoon, depending on what time and place you are.
Yeah, very cool. Tonight we got a very interesting guy on tonight, mixing it up a little bit, but we're not going to be completely Sasquatchless. We have a gentleman that's been in the paranormal world for quite a few years, been doing this for a long time, but he also has had a Bigfoot encounter or two that he's never shared in the public setting, that is. So he'll be sharing those with us tonight for the first time on a podcast anyway. So looking forward to that. But before we get him on, I want to ask everybody, as always, to hit that subscribe button if you don't mind. We sure would appreciate it. Getting close to 1,300 subscribers now. It seems like I've been saying that for a month now. Got to hurry up and hit that 1,300, guys. It seems like the closer we get to a new 100 mark, it slows down. So we need pushed over the top, guys. So y'all subscribe. Get more people to subscribe. Help us out. And as always, head over to our Facebook page, Mannimal Research on Facebook. Everybody's got a Facebook. You know you do. Ain't nothing to be embarrassed about just yet. So if you're on Facebook, might as well be a part of our group. We would appreciate it. So head on over there. Check us out, guys. Something I'm wanting to try, something new. While we got just a second, I might get into this, Daryl, and you'll be a good one to talk about. You're an admin in the group. I think I've got 5 admins, and you're one of them. Walls is another. Jordan's one. And my son Christopher is another. And I've changed some things up in the group. I've changed it to where you have to have one of our approval. One of us has to approve the post before it goes on. And the reason I'm doing this, I've been really flexible the first year and a half that the group's been in existence. I've been letting people just post whatever they want. But I know you're familiar with the whole pareidolia. I don't even know. How do you pronounce it?
Pareidolia.
I know you're familiar with that whole phenomenon, everything that goes on there. And in my opinion, man, it's given the Bigfoot community just a bad name. It really is. And I came to the decision that if you have to circle something in a picture for others to see it, I'm just not going to share it.
Yep.
In the group.
That's how I've been my whole life. If you got to circle it, it's a manipulation thing. It's look at this. This is where it's at. To me, if you can look at a picture and look and see something without having a big circle in there, then I've always thought that. And I've told you that before a long time ago when you and I first talked about the circling of the pictures. It just doesn't jive with me well.
I could go out across the street right now and take a picture of the wood line and come back with 20 red circles in that picture of all the shadows and things that could possibly be a face or it could be an arm or could be a hand. And you see these videos and what gets me is there's some really good videos out there, and I kid you not, I've watched them before, and it'd be good footage, and some person, I'm not going to call him a name, but some person will comment, that's not a Bigfoot, but there are 5 Bigfoot in this frame. They're over to the side watching.
Yeah.
Dude, no, they're not.
I've seen a few of those here lately.
And I don't want to call anybody out by name. I will never do that. But
for Mannimal Research, for you, and as not only as the host and the CEO, it should be the admin should be able to look at those and go, I don't like this picture. I do it on my website when somebody sends me something. If it's circled, it gets trashed. It's gone completely. I just don't see a point in it. I myself am a victim of pareidolia. I took a picture of what I would call a face between 2 logs, and it looks like a face. And then when I got home to look at it, I showed it to Kelly, and I've showed it to other people, and I've actually posted it on our website. And people were making little weird comments. There's 2 or 3 of them there, and I stood next to the tree and took a picture. There was absolutely nothing there. It's just a bunch of configuration of sticks and shadows and leaves, and it made a perfect picture. So I agree with that. I'm you are one that you and I talk a lot, and I think that's your best move myself.
Yeah, and I'm anxious to see what our viewers are having to say, because we've got almost 60 comments right now that I can't get to, and that's a high number for us. I mean, usually we're around the 20 or 30 comments at this point, but we've got twice that right now. So interested to see what everyone's saying. Anyway, we'll stop all that, but that's what we're going to try to do with the group. So get rid of these red circles. Anyway, check us out on Facebook. And as always tonight, guys, got a very interesting guest on tonight, Mr. Paul. You have questions that you want to ask him, feel free to do so, but we ask that you put those in all caps, so that I see them, and if I don't see them, Mr. Darrell there see them and get them to me. Send me a message to let me know to get to you guys. We don't want to miss any questions. No, we can't get to them all, but it helps us if you guys will put them in all caps. And again, Mannimal Encounters at yahoo.com. Send us your stories, guys. Getting ready to, I was talking to Jordan before it came on tonight, and told her that this week, this upcoming week, I think I'm going to start putting some together and getting some new episodes out there. So y'all have any encounters that you want shared, and you don't want to come on a live show and talk about them, send them over to this email address, mannimal-encounters at yahoo.com, and I will be glad to share those with everyone. All right. All of that out of the way. Daryl, what's been going on, buddy? You been out in the woods anytime soon?
I have not, sir. Been working.
Lately,
I can't even. I don't have time to do anything. I'm working on my house, and I got a new dog. I got a little puppy, and she's a lot of work, chewing on everything, doing her barking and howling. But I've just been working away, and I don't have a whole lot of time to do it. But in the next couple of weeks, we plan on going out. We're gonna be doing some stuff. I'm trying to get some stuff together. So over 4th of July weekend, we were talking about maybe going out, but we're still kind of remodeling our house a little bit. Got some family coming up next month. Actually, this month, because today's the 1st, isn't it? Got some family coming up to help us. My son and I are going to cut out a wall over here and put in some sliding doors and widen a couple of more doors and knock another wall out. So
yeah, very cool.
It's interesting.
Awesome. Been talking to Ralph. Y'all might know Ralph is the old bear's den of Bigfoot. And Joe, who I see on here. What's up, Joe? The Squatching Cowboy. We've been talking to those guys, and we're actually going to have a meeting Saturday night to talk about our upcoming camp out that we are going to be putting on. And Ralph and I talked at length day before yesterday. Talked for almost an hour, about 45 minutes. Throwing ideas out, trying to come up with some stuff, and I think we're going to move the camp out to Labor Day weekend. So that would be the first weekend of September. We're going to do it that's a long weekend for just about everybody. Everybody have Monday off. So we're going to do it Saturday and Sunday night. And again, we're going to have a meeting Saturday night to talk about it. And then I'm going to start pushing it on this channel. Ralph's going to push it on his Old Bear's Den of Bigfoot, and Joe's going to do the same on the Squatch and Cowboy, and just see how many people we can get to come hang out with us and have a good time. So yeah, that's what I've been working on.
Can I jump in here for just a second?
Yeah, go ahead.
Just want to say hello to a few people out there. I've been reading the comments, and Annette Alvey, hi, how are you? Hope you're doing well. I want to say hello to Michelle Murray, good Facebook friend. Been talking to her back and forth about our dogs. And Lynn Byron, who is in Oregon, who is part of the NCBPRA people. She's one of my groupies out there. She does some of my rock paintings and things like that. Some of our special. She's the one that actually, her daughter created the little Yeti guy over my right shoulder here. So.
Oh, okay. She made some stuff for me too. That's the same lady, right?
Same lady. I was the one that told her to get in contact with you.
Yeah, she made our Sasquatch feet, Bigfoot feet, big feet. Bigfoot's feet. Yeah. I was really happy with her work. She did a good job. And if we ever start selling the ones that I have and they do well, I'll get back with her and have some more made.
Yeah, that's true. When the COVID hit, everything stopped.
You're right.
COVID's beginning to lift now, so we're going to try to get back on track and start. We got to build our funds back up to be able to do our expeditions and our research. We're self-funded, so we both are. We're both self-funded. When we go out, it costs money, fuel, and equipment, and especially when equipment fails and we got to start over. So we're self-funding. This is how we make our money with the little stuff, selling these little things.
Yeah.
So
that's right. That's right. All right. So all of that out of the way, you about ready to bring Paul on? He's been waiting long enough, I think.
I am, sir. I'm ready.
All right, let's do that. Mr. Paul, how are you, sir?
Hey, guys. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. It is our pleasure. Met you through Facebook,
Yes.
I guess a little over a month ago, and we've been talking a little bit, and glad we were able to get together and get this done.
Well, I feel honored to be on. Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And we're going to mix things up a little bit tonight. You are more of a paranormal guy. How long have you? Basically, just tell us a little bit about yourself. If you have a channel or group, or if you belong to any groups, and how long you've been doing it. Just give us a general bio about you.
Well, I started in the paranormal field 37 years ago. My aunt started the first paranormal group in the county that I live in, Burlington County. It's been in my family since the late 50s, paranormal investigating. I was basically grown up, raised in the paranormal, so the paranormal is nothing new for me. I was age 16 when I was allowed to go out and investigate with my aunt and her group. And then I founded 3 paranormal groups, and now I'm freelancing, and I've been doing it ever since. And I've been doing it for 37 years.
Awesome. So what are you a part of a group right now?
Right now I'm basically freelancing right now. I've let go of my 3 groups. I'm right now currently writing a book, which I've been putting all my time into. And I've been fascinated with Bigfoot since as long as I can remember too. So very cool.
And you've got a couple of Bigfoot stories you're going to share with us tonight too, right?
Yes. Which tonight will be the first night publicly I'll be speaking about it, because only a handful of people know about it. But it's just something I didn't usually share with people until tonight. So.
Okay. Well, let's start off talking about paranormal side and just what you do when you go out. I mean, do you take calls from people that think they might have something going on, or do you just go out to places that have a reputation for being haunted? And talk about what gets you started in an investigation and what you do during that investigation.
Well, usually when a lot of times before we would go out and investigate, a lot of times a lot of my clients would reach out to me. I would call them back. I would talk to them. Then I would go to their homes, the businesses, historical sites. I would interview the clients. While I'm interviewing them, I go around to see how many people that I can bring along with me, see if it's a safe environment. And then I have them take me around to their hot spots, and I take notes, and then we go back. Then I've worked with a psychic detective who works with law enforcement using her gift. I sit with her, then we go over what she gets, because usually she gets stuff within a week, 2 weeks prior going into an investigation. Then we get with the group, and then we go and investigate, and then we go back and we do a reveal. So.
Very cool. So you actually work with a psychic that is affiliated with law enforcement.
Right. Now, I haven't worked with a medium before Tina. I've been with Tina for 10 years. I've been lucky enough to go on some of the cold cases with her and missing person cases, and she's been on a lot of my investigations. But I've been lucky enough to work with her for about 10 years now. But prior to that, the only medium that I've worked with was my aunt, who started the first paranormal group back in the late 50s.
Okay, and I don't know if you mentioned it or not. I might have missed it, but where are you out of? What state are you in?
I'm in New Jersey. I live in Burlington County, New Jersey.
Okay. Now, the lady you've been working with, the medium, has she ever had any success with law enforcement? I guess I want to ask, has law enforcement had success working with her? Have they been able to close any cases?
Yes, her accuracy rate's 97%. She gets tested by the government. She's numbered with the government. She's actually, a couple of years ago, she's found a missing child from New Jersey, out west Nebraska, I believe the state was. But she found a little girl sitting in her dining room in New Jersey by her remote viewing. But her,
really?
Yeah, she's done pretty good with law enforcement. Now, whether
how does something like that happen? I mean, so she sees the little girl sitting somewhere, and how long was the little girl missing?
She was missing for I'd say a couple hours. She was missing for a couple hours, but how she does a remote, she looks at different things, and then I guess she can project herself to that location by looking down or whatever. I mean, it changes. It varies in how she works. So it's really kind of hard to really pinpoint how she does it. But she's been very successful with law enforcement. And just by me working with her, she brings a whole different level to paranormal investigating. So, but awesome. I feel honored working with her. So.
Now, yeah, that's very cool. Very cool. What do you consider a successful hunt when you go out on an investigation? What do you need to find while you're out for you to come back and say, yeah, I did my job well?
Well, each investigation, varies. Sometimes we get something that could help somebody, or sometimes it just depends on the investigation.
Okay. Now, have you ever seen an apparition?
Yes. Out of the whole 37 years of doing this, I've seen one full body apparition. I was out in the national cemetery, local cemetery, and I just basically go out there, I do my walks, and just for that one night. Usually there's like family members out there walking, other like people out there walking, but that one particular night I was by myself. I thought it was kind of a little odd, but I like being by myself. So I'm walking, and I make myself around the bend of the one road that I was on. I looked up, I saw a sailor. He was heading my way, my direction. So I'm like, okay, it seemed a little odd, but so I kept on walking. So we got by each other. We looked at each other. I said, hello. He just nodded his head, and he just kept on walking. Now, are you guys familiar how the sailors walk? They have their one arm like straight down, and they like swing their one arm. That's how he was walking. And he was like dressed like really looked like it. He looked like somebody from the 50s, how the sailormen dressed back then with like the tight pants with the bell bottoms, and he looked just like you and I. So I did a couple steps. Something didn't seem right, so I turned around and looked, and he was gone. But it startled me a little bit. But then I got a little excited because I saw him. It's head to toe. He looked just like you and I in the flesh.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask, is how he came off looking to you, because when I've never done a paranormal investigation. Daryl has done many. His wife is really into paranormal, and
Right.
they do paranormal, so they know a lot about what you're talking about, more than I do. But when I envision seeing a full body apparition, I mean, I'm naive to it. I envision like a white halo around them, and like a glowing, and things you see in the movies. That's all I have to go off of. But you're saying you were mistaking this as a real person, so it looked like a real person walking.
Yeah, I mean, he looked just like you and I. I thought he was a real person. Even when I was standing, even when we passed each other, I thought he was real.
So y'all got close enough for him to pass you?
Couple inches, yeah. Couple inches. And then I must have taken a couple steps, and I turned around and looked, because something didn't seem right, like with me after we passed. So I turned around and looked. He was gone. So what I did was I got in my car, I walked over to my car, and I drove around the cemetery. Nobody. I pulled out through the gate, drove up and down the road, thinking maybe I would see him walking. Nobody. Didn't see anybody. But
that's creepy. That's creepy right there. We got our first question of the night. Kat Peterson wants to know, what's your scariest investigation?
My scariest investigation, I would say, wow, I've done a lot. I would say my most scary would be Hinsdale House in New York. Would be, because the activity in that home, it's incredible. It's dark, and the property itself is active. Inside the home, it's active. And like say when you're investigating, you're in a home, you're like, I need to take a break to get away from what's inside. Well, Hinsdale's completely different, because you could leave the inside and go outside, but it's a whole different type of energy. So, and then you got to deal with that. So it's basically a no-win situation. So that's my most intense investigation that I've done with Hinsdale. Thumbs up.
Okay. Now, Patrick Vaughn had a question for you, and it was pertaining more to the sailor, when the sailor passed you. But I'm going to put up here and ask you, in general, I know smells are a big thing when it comes to Sasquatch investigations. People talk about the odor, the smell that they put off. Do you experience smells in the paranormal field?
Yes. Sometimes you can smell perfume. Sometimes you could smell cigars, cigarettes. Sometimes you could smell death. Yeah, wow. You do have certain smells in the paranormal field.
Did you happen to smell anything with the sailor that went by?
Actually, no. It just threw me off a little bit because I didn't see him when I was like walking. Then I I just looked up and he was there because it only took a second because I was walking. I looked up there plenty of times, didn't see nothing. Put my head down, looked back up. Within a second, he was walking up that way. But no, he didn't have a smell.
We've smelled a lot of different variety of smells, cigarettes, perfumes. Um, my wife's mom died. Um, my wife was actually at home, and we're non-smokers. We've never
Right.
smoked, and we smelled cigarette smoke. And the next morning, we found out that her mom died, and it was kind of a connection. It was when they went out to see her, well, to clean out her house. It was the exact same smell. So yeah, the smell is a big deal. Mr. Dixon, I have a question for you. You ever been pulled, pinched, slapped, pushed, any kind of physical contact?
Well, I've been touched. I've had my shirt pulled. Um, Nothing like really major, but I've basically been touched more than anything, like a gentle touch, like one across my hand or the back of my neck, but nothing like hair being pulled or anything. They're just being touched.
Okay. When you go out on your research and your expeditions and stuff, what kind of equipment do you use? What do you take out with you?
Me, I'm old school. I like using I like to use the digital camera. I like my EVPs. I like taking the SLS. That's basically what I use because I basically use my phone because the phone nowadays has basically got everything you need.
Mm-hmm.
But that's basically what I use. I'm more old school than I am like the high tech stuff.
Right. Like no RIM pods, anything like that. Just normal everyday run of the mill equipment.
I mean, I take the REM pod out every once in a while, but it's basically more old school, like the EVPs, because like I mentioned before, I have Tina with me. Well, Tina's my wife, but we basically work together, so we really don't need like all that equipment. We just basically use what's on her phone, the apps on her phone, the EVPs, digital cameras.
Okay. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Well, you're welcome. Anytime.
Do you have any pre-investigation rituals? Anything that you do? I know a lot of people. Like I saw Daryl when we went out on an investigation one time. Daryl
Right.
actually talked to the spirits, and I've been out with people on Bigfoot investigations where they will actually call out to them saying that we mean you no harm and all this stuff. Do you have any traditions or anything that you do before an investigation?
Basically what I do, I ground myself before I go in. I make sure I'm very well protected before I go into an establishment that's supposed to have activity. That's basically all I do. I ground myself, make sure I got
Okay.
protection. Some
How,
places,
how do you do that? How do you go about grounding yourself?
well, it depends. Each person's different. I go in. Okay. Here's a perfect example that I do. I reach out. I hold a tree. I picture myself being grounded with the tree. I set my tent to the Lord, ask for angels for protection, and see. But that's my way of doing things. But that's how I work. But everybody's different. Everybody's different. Everybody does their own thing. So.
Okay, we had a question from John, buddy John. He's a member of Mannimal. How does Cannonball fire become a ghost experience? Can you understand that? I asked him to kind of clarify the question a little bit, and he said it makes sense to an animate object but inanimate object like a cannonball.
Like shooting it, like during an investigation? Is that what he means?
Yeah, I think it means some people report hearing cannons being fired. That is a good question, John. I get what you're saying. Some people report hearing cannons being fired, like at battlefields.
Okay, here's a perfect example. Gettysburg. Gettysburg is like one of the most haunted locations in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
No matter where you go in Gettysburg, it's haunted. You can experience the paranormal in the daytime. You can experience at nighttime. I've been there multiple times. Gettysburg, I can never get enough of Gettysburg. You could stand outside in front of your hotel or anywhere. You can go out into a field. You can go anywhere. And if you stand and listen, you can hear rifles being shot at. You can hear cannons go off. I've stood in the middle of a field and hear people out there talking and cannons going off. So yeah, I mean, Gettysburg would be a perfect place to go if you want to hear all that. So yeah, you can hear all that.
We actually, yeah, but that is a really good question, John. And put it this way a little bit, like if you see an apparition or if you hear a disembodied voice, that's coming from a person that had a soul that was living and breathing. A cannonball, a rifle being shot, those things don't have a soul. You know, how are you hearing that? Do you have any idea?
Well, that's a residual. That's like things being played over it. Like say if you take a record album and you play it over and over and over again. So that's basically residual.
Okay, I got you. All right, yeah, you're talking about Gettysburg. We have in our area in southeast Tennessee, North Georgia. We have Chickamauga Battlefield down here, and it's a pretty haunted place. And we did a live investigation down there, and Daryl actually got hit by something in
Really?
those woods. Yeah, we've got the video up. If I'm not sure what do you remember the title of that episode, Daryl?
Chickamauga Battlefield #2.
Okay, yeah, that's the second one. Yeah, go check it out because something happened to
will.
Daryl. He had scratches all over his body. He had a black eye after it. Yeah, his camera went off, and it was really interesting. Check it out.
Wow. How did you feel after that happened to you?
I wanted to come home and change my clothes, especially my pants.
I was going to say that because that would scare the crap out of me too.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not. I got to say this. I'm not from Tennessee. I'm from California. And ghosts and Bigfoot and cryptids are a little different out here in Tennessee than they are in California. In California, you do a little provoking, you get a glimpse of them. But out here, you do some provoking, and I provoked them. I was mean about it. I was telling them, I want to see you, I want to hear you, I don't believe in you. And sure enough, I got a good whack across the face and a good 3 scratches across my side. And, so yeah, I took a beating that night. And it wasn't fun. I'm not a big guy for being attacked, but all I saw was a black figure in it by a tree, and it came at me. It came straight for me and right on the face. And
wow!
As I was falling, the 3 scratches from the small part of my back to my stomach kind of spread out, and it was 3 scratches. But I won't ever be doing that again. They've gone out before, and I said I'm not going. So I think I learned my lesson.
Lesson learned.
It's funny about Bigfoot, about paranormal researching. When we've done our researching, we've always had equipment fail.
Yes.
And our equipment failed that night. We had, I think we had 7 people out there in the battlefield. And every person's equipment, electronic phones, our camcorders, our EVPs, our electronic microphones, or our recorders, everything died. And it died within about a minute of me being attacked to about a minute after I got attacked. and then everything came back on. So it was really bizarre how all of this happened, and it was everybody all at the same time.
Wow.
So I think it pulled the energy, like we always talk about paranormal.
Right.
You know, they pull energy from us or from our equipment. They do whatever they're going to do, and then everything comes back on. But everything went dead that night. We were on live with Wayne up there, and somebody's camera was going off, or their phone was going off, and somebody else would come on, and it lasted for a couple, 4 or 5 minutes that way, and that's classic. That's classic signs of poltergeist, something that's malevolent. You know what I mean?
Right.
You can have residual hauntings out there, you know, but I don't think this was residual. I think this was just an angry poltergeist or demon of some kind. And I should have kept my mouth shut. But I learned a very valuable lesson about the Tennessee ghosts. So.
I guess you won't do that no more, huh?
No, that's why I asked you. That's why I asked you, sir, if you've ever been punched, kicked, or slapped, or had your hair pulled. Because sometimes you as a paranormal investigator,
right.
You know of all things, and you even said you say a prayer before you go out.
Right.
Some people burn sage. I know some people burn rope. Sit around a campfire and burn rope in a campfire, and smoke, to cover their body in the white light and things like that. So I know a lot of that. I didn't do any of that night. So I just kind of went out blindfolded, and sure enough, I came home with one eye closed. So it was pretty good.
Yeah, I guess you won't do that no more, huh?
Now, Paul, we got another question from John, and I'm in the same boat. He wants to know if you could elaborate on what a residual haunting is, because I've heard that term thrown around before, but I don't know a lot about it. What makes a haunting a residual one?
Well, it depends. I mean, you have your intelligent haunt, which is energy that, like, say, if you ask a specific question, you'll get a specific answer. A residual, like I mentioned earlier, it's like it's played back like over and over in time. It's like where you put on, like, say, a LP, a record vinyl, and you play and it plays over and over the same songs over and over. So like, say if you see an energy that just like walks through the walls or down the hallway, the same thing, every night, same time. That's like a residual where it just does the same thing over and over and over and over again. It doesn't communicate with nobody. It just goes about its business. That's residual.
It's energy stuck in a loop.
Yes.
It basically plays the same song over and over and over again. And it doesn't ever change anything. It does the same thing constantly. It's not intelligent. And it's not intelligent. You got to make sure that we put that in there, because a residual is not an intelligent haunt.
They're two different things.
Two different things completely, exactly.
Yep, two different things.
Okay. All right. Well, let's switch things up a little bit. I have been interested in hearing about this Bigfoot stuff that you've been talking about. So, do you have something that happened to you, or are you going to be sharing a story that you heard?
Well, the first story I want to talk about. My parents bought a trailer in the Pine Barrens. I live about 40 minutes from the Pine Barrens. Have you guys ever heard of the New Jersey Pine Barrens? The home of the legendary Jersey Devil?
Mm-hmm.
Well, my parents decided to move out in the Pines. I was 10 years old at the time. And we lived there for 5 years. First couple of years, it was nothing happened, nothing out of the ordinary, nothing strange, nothing scary. Then all of a sudden, one night, everybody started to hear screams coming from the woods. Now, my mom's trailer, now try to picture this. My mom, they lived on a road called Newman. So my mom's trailer was on one side. Then we had the neighbors across the street in their trailer. But behind them was a field. And then you had the woods. All of a sudden, it just started. Just like that, right out of the blue, everybody started to hear screams. I even heard the screams, but I didn't know what it was. I thought it was either kids playing or some type of animal, but it was becoming like every night, and then a couple times during the day, and then people starting to talk about. See, what I'm trying to like get to is when you're 10 years old and you hear adults talk. Now, all of a sudden, it was like just my parents talking about like hearing this stuff, and then next, the neighbors across the street was talking about it. Next, it was almost like the whole trailer park. All the adults were all talking, and they weren't telling us kids anything. But at 10 years old, you pretty well know what they're talking about. And they were talking about the screams. They don't even know what type of animal. Now you figure in the Pine Barrens, you got like bear, you got coyote, but they were saying it was like a different type of scream. And then when I heard it, it was like a weird scream. It was real high, but it was like deep at the same time. So that happened for like about a week. Then next thing you know, people are starting to say they're starting to hear like pounding with someone like sides of their trailers. I'm like, okay. Well, then one night, our neighbor went out. He went to go to work. He turned on his car, his headlights, and he was facing the field. Next thing you know, him and his wife come running over to my parents' trailer. When he turned on his headlights, he said there was a creature about, he said 5'5". It wasn't tall, but he said it was hairy and had red eyes. So with that being said, next thing you know, we had more people coming into the trailer park. We had people like starting to spend nights over. They were all like hanging out outside, sitting outside, and you could hear the screams. But he was the only person that actually saw the creature. But then all of a sudden, it just stopped. As quick as it started, it stopped. Nobody's heard no more screams. No one's heard anything after that. So I decided a couple months ago to take a ride back out to the trailer park because we moved out of there in 1981. So I'm like, so I went back. So it's basically still looks the same, except now where the fields at, they got like a park now. But I thought that was kind of odd. I never really talked about that much to too many people, but he was actually scared shitless.
Can you describe the howl or the screams to us?
It started. What it did was it started low, and then it went high, like a high pierced, mm-hmm. and then it just like went a little, and then it just stopped. Mm-hmm. It was. I mean, it's hard to describe because it was. I never heard anything like this, and
a lot of people describe the screams as kind of like a woman being attacked, a woman being hurt. Was that anything like?
The high part sounded like a woman because it started off low, then it went high, and then either sometimes it cut off at high or it just went a little low and then it just stopped. I mean, I'm 53. I'm 54 now, so I never heard anything before or after that. It's hard to explain. It's hard to describe it.
You said something else that I found really interesting. How you talked about y'all had never heard it before, and then you heard stuff for a short period, then there was the sighting, and then it's like it ended. It went away.
It just stopped.
That sounds a lot like you hear about them passing through. Passing through territories that kind of like nomadic behavior. Kind of like a nomad.
Right.
Passing through an area to get food and then going away.
But see, that's classic Bigfoot stuff right there. My original sighting only lasted a week.
Right. Yeah.
I got everything. I got footprints and pictures. I mean, I'm sitting here when you were talking about the screams. I'm actually sitting here listening to what I recorded in Klamath, California in 1992. So.
Wow.
I'm sitting here playing it, so I'm trying to think if I could put the two and two together. Now, I'm going to play you this, all right? So it's 32 seconds long, so I hope everybody can hear it. Let me turn my phone up here, all right? and tell me if this sounds like what you heard. Now, this was my original recording from 1992, and it's on a Sony DAT. If anybody knows what a DAT is, it's a digital audio recorder. We used a parabolic mic at the time, so this I'll play this. So those are my original recordings from 1992. So did it sound something like that?
Similar, yes, similar, but just a little different. Just a little different than that. And now that I think back, I like I said, I was only 10, 11 at the time. I didn't even think about grabbing like any type of. Back then, we had the old-fashioned cassette players. I didn't think about grabbing one of them, and I think I was just.
Daryl, at the end of the recording that you just played, and that's really cool. I've known you all this time, and I've never heard that recording. But at the end of that recording, kind of sounded like a laugh. Did you catch that?
It's not a laugh. It's just
it sounds like a laugh. And what I have talked about so many times, a sound that I heard down in North Georgia, where it sounded like an evil laugh, between an evil laugh and a bark. And I have found that sound on YouTube a couple of times. And actually, Thinker Thunker has a video up about the thing that I heard. And it sounded like just the most evil laugh and a bark, like a dog's bark, all combined. But it was a scream, kind of, and it was extremely close. And it sounded similar to what you just played. But to go to Paul's point, when he said that he was, however old, he was just a young boy, he didn't even think to pull anything out to record. I was on a Bigfoot expedition with 3 other researchers. And we were there for that reason, to gather evidence. And when this thing turned loose, it went off about a dozen times in about a minute and a half, a 90-second span. The only thing I pulled out was my gun. I took my 45 off my hip. I didn't get my phone out. I didn't get my digital recorder. I didn't pull out a camcorder. Didn't hit record on my phone. Nothing. I didn't think. It never occurred to me to try to get this evidence.
Right.
And to me, when I hear people talking about, well, why didn't you take a picture? Why didn't you pull your phone out? Everybody's got a phone in their pocket. Why didn't you pull a picture out? I completely understand now.
So you don't think of those things when it happens, because most of the time it happens when you least expect it.
Oh, because when you're scared, it's fight or flight.
Right.
That was the most scared that I have been in doing this Bigfoot stuff.
When I had my encounter, that was the thing I did. I wanted flight. I saw my first Bigfoot in 92. I peed my pants.
Wow.
I mean, that's the God's honest truth. That's not a secret. I've told everybody that. I was in the military. I wasn't afraid of anything back then. I am now, but I wasn't afraid of anything. When I saw mine, I peed my pants. The laughter part, though, is I think it's the echo, Wayne, between the 2 hills, because it's 2 different ones calling back and forth. And when one would call, you'd hear the echo. But here, I'm going to play the last 15 seconds for you, okay?
Okay.
All right, here we go.
Yeah.
But that was my voices back then, and that's the only recordings I've ever gotten. Now, we've gotten growls, we've gotten a couple of hoops. I myself even out there making weird sounds in the forest, hoping to get a response. But the evil laughter part of it, I remember you telling me, Wayne, about that, and that I never put two and two together until just now. So,
wow.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now, let's go back a little bit. That was the first Bigfoot encounter that you want to talk about, but I wanted to ask you to go back over the description a little bit more, like what the gentleman said it looked like. It wasn't very tall.
No,
And what else did he say?
No, he came over. He first of all he was scared shitless, and he said it looked about 5 foot, 5'5", with red eyes, and he said it had black hair. So I was thinking like maybe either it could have been a juvenile Bigfoot or maybe I don't know. He said it wasn't tall. He said it was about 5 foot, 5'5", and he said it just stood there. He said he turned his headlights on, and it just hit it. He don't even know if it walked away or not because he said he just like got out of his car, went in, told his wife, and then came over to my parents' trailer. So I was thinking maybe if it is a Bigfoot, it maybe was a young one. Or,
okay.
Because apparently there's this. Yeah. So
yeah.
So, Mr. Dixon, let me ask you a question.
Yes.
And I ask this every week, but I'm going to quote over here. Michael Harrell asked the same thing. He said, "Are the Sasquatch both spiritual and physical? What do you believe in they are?" Thank you, Wayne.
I believe, first of all, I believe that not everybody's meant to see a Bigfoot. I believe that they're spiritual. This is my belief. I believe that, like say, where they say they see a Bigfoot here and then next you know he's gone. I think they can enter different dimensions. I think they're here 1 minute and then they can walk through like a dimension and come out like somewhere else. But I think they're spiritual.
Oh wow. Okay. Now, so we talked about the first encounter. Do you want to talk about the other one?
Yeah, I could talk about the second one. Now the second one happened at Stonehenge in New Hampshire back in 2017. I was filming. I was doing a paranormal public event. We were filming. It was a Saturday night. We did an investigation there. We had the public. Nothing was out of the ordinary. The investigation went well. The lady that ran the park came up and asked the paranormal group if we wanted to come back the next day for like bring our families. It would be free. So we said, all right, we thanked her. So my wife, Tina, who is the psychic detective, and our daughter, we decided to take the day, was a Sunday, to walk around the park. So we're walking around, nothing out of the ordinary, enjoying ourselves. And we were like checking out all the stone structures and everything. So we decided to take this one path that went up a hill. And we noticed it was like dead silent. There were no birds chirping. There were nothing. It was eerie. It was odd. So we started walking. We noticed that, but I didn't think nothing of it. She noticed it first. So we're walking up the hill, and she says, Paul, she goes, it sounds like there's something on our left. So I looked out. I'm thinking like a bear. I told her, I said, it's probably a bear or something like that. I said, because there's no birds chirping. I said, a lot of times when you have big animals like that, it stays quiet. They try to stay quiet. So next, we're walking up. She says, Paul, somebody's throwing like little pebbles in front of me. She says, it's not hitting me. She goes, but they're throwing little pebbles. So I didn't think nothing of it. So I'm like, okay. So I thought maybe she was kicking the stones and all that. But you could actually hear like stones being like tossed. And it was landing in front of her by a couple of inches. So actually, if Bigfoot's throwing stones, they could hit you if they wanted to. So we're standing there. Next thing you know, we had like a rock that I would say maybe 2 pounds come flying out. It just missed her. So we're like, okay. Somebody's throwing stuff. We looked around. It's still dead quiet. Nothing. So we decided to go back down. We turned around. We went back down, and we were talking to the lady that was running the shop that day. And we told her what we experienced on that path. And she told us, she said 2 weeks before we got there, they had several Bigfoot sightings. So was that Bigfoot? I think it was. We didn't smell nothing. We didn't see nothing, but yet it was dead silent in the woods. We had stuff being thrown at us. Didn't hit us. And if they wanted to hit us, they could hit us. But it was just weird how they were being thrown at us.
That sounds like typical Bigfoot behavior.
Yeah, and we've only told like a couple people, but this is the first time I'm going public with it. But they had a couple Bigfoot sightings 2 weeks before we did the investigation the night before. And she even said that sounded like what they were experiencing before we even got up there. So,
and was this also in New Jersey?
No, this is in New Hampshire.
New Hampshire, okay.
America's Stonehenge in New Hampshire.
Okay.
But everything was fine. We were checking out the stone structures. Like, you could hear like the birds chirping. It was like, and there was like, it was fine until we hit the one path and we started to go up the hill, and that's when everything got dead quiet.
That sounds a lot like Bigfoot behavior. Right. You know, when everyone says, and I've experienced this myself, when these things are around, the forest goes quiet. Everything stops. All the sounds stop. Just about every time we go out to our hot spots, we experience it. 1 minute you're hearing squirrels running around and birds chirping and stuff like that, and the next minute you hear nothing.
Right. Christina looked at me and she's like, something's not right. Something doesn't feel right. And it didn't feel right. So we decided to just turn around, went back down.
That's probably a smart thing to do.
Yeah. During your rock throwing encounter, did you feel any infrasound during your rock throwing encounter?
I didn't. I mean, I could actually hear the stuff like hit, but I didn't. Nothing out of the ordinary. At first, I thought maybe they were just like kicking their feet. You know, like how you're walking. Sometimes you kick the stones, but you could actually like hear it like land, like they were dropping like stones.
Because we've been hit with rocks before.
Really?
So we've also heard a growl, and went towards the growl, and then ended up. Kelly got hit in the back of the head, and I got hit in the face. So, but it was done. Right. Birds started chirping, crickets started, bugs started. You know, the cicadas or whatever came back up. You could hear the sound of the trees, so it was all over with. So yeah.
I just think it's odd how, like, say, when he's around, everything is like at a standstill. It's like
he's the boss.
Yeah. Now I have a question for you, Darryl. Now you said you saw Bigfoot, correct?
I have, sir. I've seen two in my lifetime.
Now, like, see, I never saw like a Bigfoot before. Now my question for you is, when you saw it, now they weigh what, 900 pounds, 1,000 pounds?
Mine was It was 6 to 7 feet tall, 400 or 500 pounds. It was up there. It was big.
Now my question to you is, when they walk, can you actually hear them, like their feet hit the ground? Does the ground shake? Or
my first one, sir, was not walking. It was standing still.
Okay.
And it was just looking at me.
Wow.
I thought for a second there I was about to get my arms tore off and beat up. And then my second one was actually about 3 years ago, and it was running from us, and we could hear it thumping away, and then it just disappeared.
Wow.
It was probably 500-600 pounds. It was up there and fast, very extremely fast. I'll give it that. And there was two of us, and back then I was a little bit more healthier, and neither one of us wanted to run after it. So yeah. I'm kind of on your side, and I'm going to be, I know we're running out of time. I know we're at an hour. I'm kind of on your side. I think they're interdimensional. Maybe find portals and travel between the two. Only reason why I say this. Now, my other half in the front room right now is going, no, they're real. And I know Wayne believes that they're real. But I used to go out in the snow and investigate reports. And the footprints, there was one set of footprints in the middle of an open field. And I walked out there and found the footprints. And I left a track and a trail where a toddler could turn around and walk back. But here's two perfectly good footprints in the middle of snow that just disappeared.
Yep.
And they're fresh. So, somehow or another, the Indians believe he's the great creator. He's Wopekamal, the man in the flowered house. He can come and go as he please. He's the boss of the mountain. And I think I've said that about every show I've been on about Bigfoot. They believe that he is the boss of the mountain. And he's
he is. He is the boss.
He is the boss.
He is the boss.
Now, Paul, but before we let you go, is coming up on the end of the show. We've gone over an hour now. I want to ask you something that has nothing to do with Bigfoot or paranormal or anything, but it's still creepy. Have you lived in New Jersey your whole life?
Yes.
Are you familiar with, I can't remember the gentleman's name, but I'm listening to a podcast right now that's called The Devil Within. It's about this, I think he was 13. His name was Tommy. Can't remember his last name off the top of my head. He murdered his mother and then killed himself very horrifically.
Wow.
Outside in, it was in New Jersey. It made national news, and I cannot remember his last name, but I'm taking, you don't know what I'm talking about, do you?
I'm not familiar with that now. Sorry, kid.
Dang it. If I could remember his last name, I bet you would. But the podcast is called The Devil Within, and they come out with a new episode each week. And the newest one I listened to today, they actually talked a lot about the Jersey Devil.
Okay.
But I just want to get your opinion on that story if you were familiar with it, because I'm very interested in that right now, because the way that kid killed himself, I wouldn't think would be even possible. He almost decapitated himself.
Wow. Actually, I'm going to check that out. It's called The Devil Within.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to check that out. Honestly, I'm not familiar with that one, but I'll definitely check that out.
Yeah, it came from a very religious upper middle class family in New Jersey. He was a star wrestler in middle school, going into high school, and got into devil worshiping, the occult, and just brutally murdered his mother. And then the way he slit his own throat was just the way they described it was his right ear. When he was found, his right ear was sitting on his right shoulder blade, and his chin was pointed straight up to the sky.
Wow.
That's how much damage it caused. And obviously there's speculation that someone else might have done it, because how could anybody do that to themselves? Especially,
I was thinking of that. I'm thinking when you were telling me about him slitting his own throat, wouldn't that be kind of hard to slit your own throat?
Especially a 13-year-old boy. He did it with a 3-inch blade, a Boy Scout knife. But there was several inches of snow on the ground, and there were no tracks except for his.
Ooh.
So, I don't know. Check it out. It's interesting.
I'm going to check it out.
Everybody out there that wants to check it out, I don't think you'll be disappointed. It's a little bit different from the Bigfoot and paranormal stuff. I like to take a break from it every now and then, but it's called The Devil Within. All right. Well, coming up to the end there, Paul. But again, I want to thank you for taking the time out of this Thursday night to sit and have a talk with us.
Well, thank you for having me on, guys. I appreciate it. Hopefully we'll talk again soon.
Yeah, we will. Actually, there's something that I want to talk to you about off air, and I'll get in touch with you in the next day or so.
That's good.
Do you have a website or something that we can take a peek at, or do you have anything?
I got a Facebook page that people can check me out. It's freelance paranormal investigator, and I'm also on Instagram, paranormal investigator _energy.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
And that.
Do you have? The Squatchy Cowboy here is asking if you have a YouTube channel or anything.
Actually, I have a YouTube channel, The Strange and Mysterious. I'm currently changing things around because of me working on my book. I'm going to start doing some different things on there to promote my book in the next couple of months. They could check that. I got a couple of videos on there, but not much. But they can check it out. It's called The Strange and Mysterious on YouTube.
Okay, yeah. If you want to send me a list of all of your stuff, I will. I should have got it from you before the show. I'll get it put down in the show notes for people to check out. And when you get your book released, first of all, I expect an autographed copy. And
you got it.
Second of all, we'll have you back to promote it a little bit, talk about it if you don't mind.
Nope. Sounds good to me. Thank you guys for having me on.
Yes, sir. You have a good evening. All right, buddy. We'll talk soon.
Thank you, sir.
Good night, everybody. You're welcome. Good night.
All right. Paul's a good guy, ain't he?
That was interesting. That was really interesting.
Yeah, I thought that you and Kelly would understand a lot more of what he was talking about than I do. But yeah, it's really cool, especially the stuff about the medium. I wasn't aware that there was that much success. He said the medium that he works with has like a 97% success rate working with law enforcement. That's amazing.
I watched some show, I think it's called 48 Hours or something on Discovery or one of the big channels, and they brought in a medium once, and the man got it right. I mean, literally got it right on the spot. I mean, he took him right to a body, and he described the person, and they went right to the guy's house and arrested him. It was one of those really bizarre shows, but it was a true tale. So, and they were using the actual people, so it was pretty awesome. But there are some mediums out there I do really like. You know, I watch those shows all the time just to see what they do.
Yeah, very cool. I've always had kind of mixed emotions about them, not really know how to take them, but man, you hear some stuff, see some stuff that really makes you scratch your head and wonder, how they know it,
Yep.
So. All right, buddy, you want to?
I just want to tell you, everybody have a great 4th of July weekend. And unfortunately, I'm going to say don't drink and drive. You know the rules of the road. Have us very safe, and God bless you all, and have a good time with your family. And as I say in every show at the end, remember, keep your eyes on the horizon and in the trees. It's a good place. So go out and get some fresh air over the weekend, you guys. Wayne, thank you once again for having me on the show.
Yeah, man. Anytime. You're welcome anytime. And like Daryl spoke to, hope everyone has a good 4th. And since it is a holiday and festivities happen at night, I do not have anyone scheduled for Sunday night, which is the 4th. So we won't be here. We won't be back until a week from tonight. So all of that being said, guys, be careful out there on the 4th. Be careful all the time. Take care of each other. Be good to each other, guys. And we'll see you next time. See you guys.